The call comes at 2:47 a.m. My mother's voice is slurred, wrong. The words don't make sense. Iris, the raven, always comes back. Then the line goes dead. I call back 17 times. No answer. My hands shake so violently I can barely grip the phone. I should call Blaine, my boyfriend of 3 years, the man who promised to always be there for me. But when I dial his number, a woman answers on the second ring. He's busy. Her voice is cold, bored. Don't call again. The line clicks dead before I can speak. I stand frozen in my tiny apartment wearing the oversized hospital scrubs I fell asleep in after a double shift. Rain hammers against the single window. The clock on the microwave blinks 2:51 a.m. My mother is alone in the hospital. She has no one but me, and the man I've spent 3 years loving just had another woman answer his phone at 3 in the morning. I run to the hospital on foot, 3 miles in the rain. My lungs burn, my legs scream, but I run, because Blaine took my car keys last week, said it was for my safety, said I was too tired to drive after my shifts. I believed him. I believed everything he ever told me. The emergency room lights are too bright, too harsh. A nurse I don't recognize directs me to the ICU. 4th floor, room 412. My mother's room is at the end of a long hallway that smells like antiseptic and death. Through the window in the door, I see her small body nearly disappearing into the white sheets. Tubes and wires connect her to machines that beep in steady, terrible rhythm. I push through the door. Her purse has spilled across the visitor's chair. Lipstick, tissues, her worn wallet, and a black business card I've never seen before. I pick it up with trembling fingers. No name, no company. Just a phone number, and 3 words in Italian script, quando sei pronta. When you're ready. If you're already hooked by this story, just wait until you see what that card means. My mother's eyes flutter open. For a moment she looks at me without recognition. Then something clears in her gaze, something sharp and aware that doesn't match the frail woman in the hospital bed. You found it, she whispers. I kept it for 26 years, the day you were born. Mum, what happened? How did you collapse? I need to call your doctor. I need to... Listen to me. Her grip on my wrist is surprisingly strong. Blaine did this. He switched my medication. I saw the bottles were different 3 days ago, but I thought I was being paranoid. I thought I was losing my mind. The words don't make sense. Can't make sense. Blaine is a financial consultant. He barely even comes to visit my mother. Why would he... He needed you distracted, she continues. Her breathing is labored, each word an effort. He needed access to your hospital records, to your badge, to the drug inventory system. Iris, he's been using you for months. The machines beep faster. A nurse rushes in, checks my mother's vitals, adjusts something on one of the monitors. She needs to rest. You can stay, but keep her calm. When we're alone again, my mother's eyes are closed, but her hand still grips mine. Call the number on the card when you're ready to know the truth, when you're ready to stop being afraid. I sit in that chair for 2 hours, holding her hand, watching her breathe. The black card burns in my pocket like a live coal. I think about Blaine, about the woman who answered his phone, about my missing car keys, about the way he's been asking questions about my work schedule, about which doctors prescribe which medications, about how the hospital inventory system tracks controlled substances. At 5 a.m., my phone finally buzzes. A text from Blaine. Sorry, babe, phone died, everything okay? I stare at the message, at the casual lie, at the emoji he added at the end, like we're still the couple who sends each other heart emojis and talks about getting married someday. I don't respond. Instead, I walk out of the hospital and into the grey dawn light. My mother is stable. The nurses know me. They'll call if anything changes. But right now, I need to go home. I need to think. I need to understand what's happening to my life. The walk back should take an hour. I make it 20 minutes before I realize someone is following me. Footsteps behind me matching my pace. 2 sets, maybe 3. I'm in a bad part of the city now, the kind of neighborhood where the street lights are broken and the buildings are abandoned. I took a shortcut. Stupid, so stupid. Hey, a man's voice too close. You lost? I walk faster. Don't look back. Don't engage. Every self-defense class I ever took runs through my mind, but I'm exhausted. I've been awake for 24 hours. I'm wearing scrubs and sneakers, and I left my pepper spray in the car. I don't have any more. We're talking to you. Another voice. Younger. Excited in a way that makes my skin crawl. I break into a run. They chase me. I can hear their laughter like this is a game. Like I'm prey and they're hunters, and this is entertainment. I turn down an alley, hoping for a back exit, hoping for anything. But it's a dead end. Dumpsters and broken glass and graffiti-covered walls. I spin around. 3 of them. Early 20s, probably. Expensive sneakers, designer jackets. Not desperate, not hungry, just cruel. Pretty thing like you shouldn't be out here alone, the first one says. He's tall, blonde, with the kind of face that probably gets him out of trouble. His friends flank him, grinning. I don't want any trouble, I say. My voice shakes. Please, just let me go. See, that's not really up to you anymore. He steps forward. I step back. My shoulders hit the brick wall. There's nowhere left to go. The blonde reaches for me. His hand closes around my wrist. I try to pull away, but he's stronger than he looks. His friends move closer, boxing me in. Get your hands off me! I'm screaming now, fighting, clawing. One of them laughs. Another one grabs my other arm. I kick out, connect with someone's shin, hear a curse. Then someone hits me across the face and everything goes sideways. I'm on the ground. Wet pavement, broken glass cutting into my palms. One of them kicks me in the ribs and I can't breathe, can't think. I curl into a ball and wait for it to be over. That's enough. The voice comes from the mouth of the alley. Deep. Quiet. The kind of quiet that's more terrifying than shouting. The kicking stops. I force my eyes open, squinting through the blood running down my face from a cut above my eyebrow. A man stands at the alley entrance, backlit by the rising sun. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a suit that probably costs more than my entire year's rent. Walk away, one of my attackers says, but his voice wavers. This doesn't concern you. You have 3 seconds. The man in the suit doesn't raise his voice, doesn't move, just stands there with his hands in his pockets. 1. Man, there's 3 of us and one of 2. Something in that single word makes all 3 of them go still. I see it in their faces. Recognition. Terror. They know who this man is. 3. They run. All 3 of them, scrambling past the man in the suit like he's death itself. He doesn't try to stop them, just watches them go with the same calm expression. Then his eyes shift to me, still crumpled on the ground, bleeding and shaking. He walks toward me slowly like I'm a wounded animal that might bolt. When he crouches down beside me, I get my first clear look at his face. Olive skin, dark eyes that seem to see everything, a sharp jawline with the shadow of stubble, and on his neck, just visible above his collar, a tattoo of a raven in flight. Who did this to you? His voice is different now, still quiet, but there's something underneath it that sounds like barely controlled rage. I was just walking home. I try to sit up and gasp at the pain in my ribs, definitely cracked, maybe broken. Don't move, he pulls out his phone, makes a call. Matteo, send the car to my location and bring the first aid kit. He pauses, listening. No, I'll explain later. He ends the call and studies me with an intensity that makes me want to look away. But I can't. There's something magnetic about him, something dangerous and compelling in equal measure. Can you tell me your name? He asks. Iris. Iris Delancey. Something flickers in his eyes. Surprise, maybe, or recognition. Delancey, he repeats slowly. Grace Delancey's daughter? My heart stutters. You know my mother? I knew her. A long time ago. He reaches out carefully, gently brushing blood away from my eyes with a handkerchief that probably costs more than my weekly paycheck. She saved my life once. I suppose now I'm repaying the debt. I don't understand. You will. He sits back on his heels, studying me. The men who attacked you, they were wearing Fairburn family colours. That means someone paid them. Someone who wanted you hurt, frightened, or worse. The name sends ice through my veins. Fairburn? Like Sloane Fairburn? You know her? She's my boyfriend's fiancée. The words hang in the air between us. His expression doesn't change, but something darkens in his eyes. Explain. So I do. Sitting in a filthy alley at dawn, bleeding and broken, I tell this dangerous stranger everything. About Blaine, about the woman who answered his phone, about my mother's accusations, about 3 years of my life that might have been nothing but an elaborate lie. He listens without interrupting. When I finish, he's quiet for a long moment. Your mother was right, he finally says, about all of it. Blaine Ashcroft has been running a prescription fraud scheme using hospital employees as unknowing accomplices. You were his access point. He started dating you specifically for that purpose. How do you know? Because I've been investigating him for 6 months. He and the Fairburn family are responsible for a medical fraud network that's killed at least 30 people, including my sister. The words land like physical blows. I stare at him, this stranger in an expensive suit with a raven tattooed on his neck, and suddenly I understand why those men ran. Who are you? My name is Lucien Corvino. He says it simply, like it should mean something. And maybe it does, because I've heard whispered stories in hospital break rooms. About a man who controls half the city from the shadows. About someone you never, ever want to cross. And as of this moment, you're under my protection. No one will touch you again. I don't need. Yes, you do. His tone leaves no room for argument. Those men weren't random thugs. They were sent to eliminate a witness. You're in danger, Iris. Real danger. And the people who want you dead have resources, connections, and no conscience whatsoever. A black car pulls up at the mouth of the alley. A stocky man in his 40s gets out carrying what looks like a tackle box. He takes one look at me and his expression hardens. Christo, he mutters. They did this? The Fairburn brothers and one of their associates. Lucien stands smoothly, then offers me his hand. Can you walk? I take his hand because I don't have a choice. The moment I try to put weight on my left ankle, pain shoots up my leg and I stumble. Lucien catches me before I fall, steadying me with surprising gentleness. Matteo, help me get her to the car. Between them, they half carry me to the vehicle. The interior is all black leather and dark wood, the kind of luxury I've only ever seen in movies. Matteo opens the first aid kit and starts cleaning the cut above my eyebrow with professional efficiency. You were a medic? I ask, trying to focus on something other than the pain. Marines. 2 tours. He doesn't look up from his work. Hold still. This is going to sting. He's right. It does. But I've had worse. I've treated worse. I think about my mother in her hospital bed, about poisoned medication, about 3 years with a man who was using me, about how I trusted completely and suspected nothing. Where are we going? I finally ask. Lucien looks at me from the front passenger seat. Somewhere safe. Somewhere they can't find you. I need to get back to the hospital. My mother is being transferred to a private facility as we speak. His voice is matter of fact. With round-the-clock security and doctors I personally trust. She'll receive the best care available, I promise you that. You can't just. I can. And I did. He turns to face me fully. Those men were sent to hurt you badly enough that you couldn't testify, that you'd be too scared to ever speak up. And if that didn't work, they were sent to kill you. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I do. I understand perfectly. My hands won't stop shaking. Why are you helping me? The question comes out as a whisper. You don't even know me. Your mother saved my life when I was 16, years old. She found me bleeding in an alley, a lot like this one, and she didn't call the police. She patched me up, gave me food, and asked no questions. She showed me kindness when I was dangerous and desperate and probably didn't deserve it. His dark eyes hold mine. I always pay my debts, Iris. Always. Matteo finishes bandaging my eyebrow and moves to check my ribs. I flinch at his touch and Lucienne's jaw tightens. Cracked, Matteo announces. 2, maybe 3. Nothing I can do here except wrap them. She needs x-rays. The private facility has a full diagnostic centre. We'll take her there. Lucian's phone buzzes. He glances at it and something cold passes over his face. Interesting. Blaine Ashcroft just filed a missing person report. Says his girlfriend never came home last night and he's worried about her safety. He what? He's building an alibi, making himself look like the concerned boyfriend. Very smart. Lucien's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Also completely useless. I have 17 witnesses who can place him at the Fairburn estate last night, including security footage of him planning your attack with Sloane and her brothers. The car pulls away from the alley, away from the blood on the pavement and the broken glass and the place where my old life ended. I watch the city pass by through tinted windows, feeling like I'm in a dream or a nightmare. I'm not sure which yet. What happens now? I ask. Lucian turns back to face forward. Now? Now we make sure you heal. We keep you safe. And then... He pauses, and when he speaks again, his voice is so quiet I almost miss it. Then we destroy everyone who hurt you. By dawn tomorrow, every man involved in this will fear for his life. I promise you that. It should terrify me, this stranger with his casual talk of destruction and revenge, but all I feel is a strange, overwhelming relief. Because for the first time in 3 years, someone is on my side. Someone believes me. Someone is willing to fight for me. I close my eyes and let the darkness take me. When I wake up, I'm in a bedroom that looks like it belongs in a luxury hotel. High ceilings, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. A bed so soft I sink into it like a cloud. For a moment I think I've died and gone to some strange afterlife. Then the pain in my ribs reminds me I'm very much alive. I sit up slowly, cataloguing my injuries. Someone has cleaned me up and changed me into soft cotton pajamas. My ankle is wrapped and elevated on pillows. The cut above my eyebrow has been professionally stitched. I touch the stitches gently and wince. You're awake? I nearly jump out of my skin. Lucien stands in the doorway, changed out of his suit into dark pants and a black shirt. Without the formal clothing, he looks younger, 34, maybe 35, and even more dangerous than before. How long was I asleep? My voice comes out raspy. 6 hours. It's early afternoon now. He walks into the room carrying a tray. You need to eat. The doctor said you're malnourished and dehydrated. I'm a nurse. I think I'd notice if I was... But he's right. I catch a glimpse of myself in a mirror across the room and barely recognize the hollow-eyed woman staring back. When did I get so thin? When did the shadows under my eyes become permanent? Lucienne sets the tray on the bedside table. Soup, bread, water, juice. Your mother is stable. I spoke with her doctor an hour ago. The toxicology report confirmed deliberate medication tampering. Someone swapped her heart medication for a dangerous combination that mimics natural cardiac failure. Blaine, I whisper. Blaine gave the order. But Sloane's younger brother Hugh actually made the switch. He works as a pharmaceutical rep. Has access to hospitals across the city. Lucian sits in a chair near the window, his movements controlled and precise. We have him on security footage entering your mother's building 3 times in the past week. We need to call the police. The police won't help you. The Fairburn family owns half the precinct captains in this city, and Blaine's father is a federal judge. The system is designed to protect people like them, not people like you. His voice is flat, matter of fact. But I'm not the system, and I don't play by their rules. I should be afraid, should be running. But instead I find myself asking, what are you going to do? What I do best. He leans back in the chair, his dark eyes never leaving mine. I'm going to systematically dismantle their lives, their businesses, their reputations, their sense of safety. I'm going to make them understand what it feels like to be powerless and afraid. And then, when they're broken completely, I'm going to make sure they face justice. Real justice. Why? The question bursts out of me. Why go through all this trouble for me? For someone you don't even know? He's quiet for a long moment, his gaze distant. I told you, I pay my debts. That's not all of it. No. He stands, walks to the window, looks out over the city. It's not. My sister Eleanor was 22 when she died. She got sick, went to the hospital, was prescribed medication that should have helped. Instead, it was counterfeit. Part of the same fraud network Blaine and the Fairburns run. She died in agony and the doctors couldn't understand why the medication wasn't working, because it wasn't medication at all. Just sugar pills and poison. My hand flies to my mouth. Oh God. I've spent 6 years building a case against them, gathering evidence, tracking their network. But they're careful, too careful. They always have fall guys, always have alibis. He turns back to face me. Until now. Until they made the mistake of going after Grace Delancey's daughter. Until they gave me a witness who can tie Blaine directly to the hospital fraud. I don't know anything about the fraud. I swear I never suspected. You don't need to know. You just need to exist. You're the thread that unravels everything. He walks back to the bed, crouches down so we're at eye level. Iris, I need you to trust me. Just for a little while. Let me keep you safe. Let me do what needs to be done. And when this is over, you'll have your life back. I promise. I look into his eyes, those dark, intense eyes that seem to see straight through me. I think about Blaine's lies, about my mother dying in a hospital bed, about 3 men laughing while they kicked me in an alley, about how the system won't help me because I'm nobody and they're powerful. Okay, I whisper, I trust you. Something flickers in his expression, surprise maybe, or relief. Then rest, heal. I'll take care of everything else. He stands to leave, but I reach out and catch his hand. Lucienne, what your sister said before she died, do you know her last words? His jaw tightens. She said, the Raven will come back, and when he does, they'll all pay. The Raven. My mother's delirious words, in the hospital. The Raven always comes back. The tattoo on his neck. It all connects, all means something I don't fully understand yet. Was Elena friends with my mother? They knew each other. Your mother volunteered at the clinic where Eleanor worked part-time. After Eleanor died, your mother left the city for 10 years, came back around the time you were born. He gently extracts his hand from mine. Get some rest, Iris. We'll talk more later. He leaves, closing the door softly behind him. I lie back against the pillows, my mind spinning. 6 hours ago, I had a boyfriend, a job, and a simple life. Now I'm under the protection of a Mafia boss who wants revenge for his sister's death. I should be terrified, should be planning my escape. Instead, I eat the soup, drink the juice, and for the first time in years, I sleep without nightmares. When I wake up again, it's dark outside. The city lights sparkle through the windows like scattered diamonds. My ribs hurt less. My head feels clearer. I slide carefully out of bed and limp to the window, looking out over the sprawling metropolis below. Somewhere out there, Blaine is probably worried about his missing girlfriend, wondering if his plan worked, if I'm dead or too scared to ever speak. Somewhere out there, Sloane is planning her wedding to a man who spent 3 years of his life with someone else, using her, manipulating her, destroying her. They have no idea what's coming for them, and I realize, standing there in the dark, that I'm not scared anymore. I'm angry, furious. 3 years of my life stolen, my mother poisoned, my trust shattered, all for money, all for a fraud scheme that kills innocent people. A knock on the door interrupts my thoughts. Come in, I call. Matteo enters carrying what looks like a laptop. Lucienne thought you might want to see this, if you're feeling up to it. See what? He sets the laptop on the bed and opens it. The beginning. On the screen is security footage from what Looks like an expensive restaurant. There's Blaine sitting across from a beautiful blonde woman in a designer dress. Sloane Fairburn. They're laughing, holding hands across the table. The timestamp reads 3 weeks ago. He told me he was at a work conference that weekend, I say numbly. Matteo clicks to another video. Same restaurant, different night. This time Blaine and Sloane are with 2 other men who look so much like Sloane they must be her brothers. The 4 of them are hunched over a tablet, pointing at something on the screen, talking intently. That's Hugh and Garrett Fairburn. Hugh handles the pharmaceutical side. Garrett runs the financial operation. Matteo's voice is clinical, professional. This footage is from 2 months ago, around the time they started planning your mother's accident. He shows me more. Videos of Blaine going through my purse while I'm asleep, of him photographing my hospital badge, of him copying my keys, of him meeting with people I've never seen before, people in expensive suits who hand him thick envelopes. We've been following him for 4 months, Matteo explains, ever since Lucian found out Blaine was dating a nurse at Metropolitan Hospital, the same hospital Elena went to, the same hospital that's at the center of the fraud network. You knew about me. Before today. We knew you existed. We didn't know you. He closes the laptop. Lucian wanted to warn you, to tell you what Blaine really was. But we needed evidence first, proof that would hold up in court. And then this morning happened, and everything accelerated. The attack. That wasn't random. No. Blaine found out we were investigating him. Someone in our organization has been leaking information. We don't know who yet. Matteo's expression hardens. So Blaine decided to eliminate the problem before we could connect him to you. He told the Fairburn brothers you were becoming suspicious, that you might go to the police. They sent those men to make sure you never could. I sit down on the bed, my legs suddenly weak. They were going to kill me. Yes. The simple confirmation hits harder than all the videos. They were going to kill me. Blaine was going to have me murdered. The man I loved, the man I trusted, the man I thought I'd spend my life with. Where is he now? My voice doesn't sound like mine. Still playing the concerned boyfriend. He's filed reports with 3 different precincts. Called your friends, your co-workers. He's doing everything right. Matteo smiles grimly, which means when this all comes out, his fall will be even harder. Are you still with me? Drop it if this story is hitting different. I spend the next 3 days in that beautiful room, healing. Lucien has a doctor visit twice daily to check my injuries. My ribs are, indeed, cracked. My ankle is severely sprained. The cut above my eyebrow will probably scar. But I'm alive, and that's more than those men planned for me. Lucien himself is a ghost. I hear him, sometimes late at night, talking on the phone in low, urgent tones. I catch glimpses of him through the windows, pacing on a balcony I can't access. Always moving, always planning. But he doesn't come to my room, doesn't speak to me. It's like he's avoiding me. On the 4th morning, I decide I've had enough of being treated like a porcelain doll. I get dressed in clothes someone left in the closet, expensive things that fit me perfectly, and I limp out of my room for the first time. The penthouse is enormous, all modern lines and expensive art, and windows that offer panoramic views of the city. I wander through empty rooms until I hear voices coming from what looks like an office. Can't keep her here indefinitely, a woman's voice says. It's not safe. If they find out where she is, they won't. That's Lucienne, cold and certain. I've made sure of it. You're getting too close to this one, another male voice, older. I've seen what happens when you let emotions cloud your judgment. My judgment is fine. Is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're replaying Elena's death, trying to save this girl because you couldn't save your sister. The silence that follows is so heavy I can feel it from the hallway. Get out, Lucien finally says. His voice is quiet, deadly. All of you. Now. Footsteps approach the door. I panic, looking for somewhere to hide, but it's too late. The door opens and 3 people emerge. Matteo nods at me as he passes. A tall woman with silver hair gives me a long, assessing look. The older man just shakes his head sadly. When they're gone, I step into the doorway. Lucien stands by the window, his back to me, shoulders tense. "How much did you hear?" he asks without turning. "Enough." I limp into the room, leaning heavily on the wall for support. "Is that what this is? You trying to save me because you couldn't save Elena?" "No." He turns to face me, and the raw pain in his eyes takes my breath away. "I'm trying to save you because you deserve to be saved, because you're innocent, because you're kind and good, and everything my sister was before this world destroyed her. I'm not your sister. I know that. And I'm not helpless. I'm scared and hurt and angry, but I'm not some damsel who needs rescuing." I take a step toward him. I want to help. I want to fight back. I want them to pay for what they did. "You don't know what you're asking, don't I?" Another step. "You said I'm the thread that unravels everything. So use me. Let me be part of this. Because sitting in that room for 3 more days is going to drive me insane." He studies me for a long moment. "They'll come after you harder if they know you're working with me. They're already trying to kill me. How much harder can it get?" You'd be surprised. But something shifts in his expression. A decision made. "All right. You want to help? Then help. But you do exactly what I say, when I say it. No arguments, no questions. Agreed." "Agreed." He crosses the room to his desk, pulls out a thick file, and hands it to me. "Start with this. Everything we know about Blaine's operation. Names, dates, locations. Memorize it. Because when we move fast, and I need you to be able to identify everyone involved." I open the file. The first page is a photo of Blaine and Sloane at their engagement party. They look happy, perfect, like a couple from a magazine spread. "When?" I ask. "Soon." Lucien's phone buzzes. He glances at it, and a cold smile crosses his face. "Very soon. Blaine just made a critical mistake." "What did he do?" "He got desperate. Filed a lawsuit against the hospital, claiming they're responsible for your disappearance. Says you were overworked and mentally unstable, and they should have seen the warning signs." He shows me his phone. The headline reads, "Metropolitan Hospital faces lawsuit after nurse disappears." He's actually suing them. He needs a distraction. The FBI is starting to look at the fraud network. They don't have enough evidence yet, but they're circling. So Blaine is creating noise, making himself look like a victim. Lucien pockets his phone. Which is exactly what we want him to do, because every move he makes now is another nail in his coffin. Over the next week, I immerse myself in the file. I learn the names of every person in Blaine's network. The doctors who write the fake prescriptions, the pharmacists who fill them with counterfeit medication, the insurance companies that pay out without question, the patients who die, their names reduced to case numbers and closed files. I learn about Elena, how she went to the hospital with pneumonia, how the antibiotics she was given were actually expired medication, repackaged and resold, how she suffered for weeks before dying in agony, how Lucien found her body and knew immediately that something was wrong. I learn about the Fairburn family, about their legitimate businesses that mask illegal operations, about their connections to judges, politicians, police chiefs, about how they've built an empire on human suffering and gotten away with it for decades. And I learn about Lucien, not from the file but from watching him work. He's brilliant, methodical, patient. Every move he makes is calculated 3 steps ahead. He doesn't use violence like I expected. Instead, he uses information, leverage, fear. I watch him systematically dismantle one of Blaine's pharmaceutical suppliers with nothing but a series of phone calls and a few carefully leaked documents. Within 48 hours, the supplier is bankrupt, under investigation, and begging for mercy. "You didn't even threaten him," I say, amazed. "I didn't need to." Lucien marks the supplier's name off his list. I just made it clear that continuing to work with Blaine would cost him everything. People are remarkably rational when their self-interest is at stake. Is that how you do it? Just economics and leverage? Mostly. He looks up from his work. Violence is expensive and messy. It draws attention. Better to make people destroy themselves. But you can be violent if you need to be. Yes. His eyes go dark. I can be. I believe him. On the 10th day, Matteo brings news that changes everything. We found the leak, he announces, dropping a file on Lucian's desk. It's not one of ours. It's Sloane's assistant. She's been feeding information to a reporter at the Times. Apparently Sloane wants Blaine exposed because she's realized he's still in love with his missing girlfriend. Lucien goes very still. Sloane wants to burn him? She wants to hurt him first, then marry him anyway, keep him under her thumb. Matteo shakes his head in disgust. These people are insane. No, they're arrogant. Lucien opens the file, scans it quickly. This is perfect. Let her expose him. Let her do our work for us. And when the time is right, we'll make sure they both fall together. What about Iris? Matteo glances at me. If this goes public, her name will be everywhere. Then we control the narrative. Lucien turns to me. Are you ready to tell your story? My heart starts to pound. To who? To everyone. The interview happens in this very penthouse 3 days later. A journalist from the Times, a woman named Patricia Chen, who's been investigating medical fraud for 5 years. She's sharp, professional, and clearly not afraid of the Fairburn family. Tell me everything, she says, settling into the chair across from me with a recorder and notebook. Start from the beginning. When did you first meet Blaine Ashcroft? I tell her. All of it. 3 years compressed into 2 hours of testimony. How he approached me at a coffee shop near the hospital. How he was charming and attentive and made me feel special. How slowly, carefully, he integrated himself into my life. How the questions started. Casual at first, then more specific. He wanted to know which doctors prescribed the most controlled substances, which pharmacies we used for high-value medications, how the inventory system worked, how often it was audited. I stare at my hands, remembering. I thought he was just interested in my work. I thought he cared. And your mother? Patricia's pen moves across the page. When did she become involved? She wasn't involved. She was a target. Blaine needed me distracted and desperate. He needed me vulnerable enough that I wouldn't ask questions. My voice breaks. He tried to kill her, to manipulate me. Patricia looks up sharply. Can you prove that? Lucien steps forward from his position by the window. We have the toxicology reports, the security footage of Hugh Fairburn entering her building, the pharmacy records showing he ordered the specific medication combination that was found in her system. We have everything. And you're willing to go on record? Patricia asks him. I am. You understand that will make you a target. I've been a target my entire life. Lucien's smile is cold. Let them come. The article publishes 2 days later. The headline reads, Inside the Medical Fraud Network That's Killed Dozens, a Nurse's Story. My face is on the front page. My name is everywhere. Within hours, every news outlet in the city has picked up the story. Within 24 hours, it's gone national. The FBI announces a formal investigation. 3 senators call for congressional hearings. The pharmaceutical company at the center of the network sees its stock price collapse. And Blaine Ashcroft's life begins to disintegrate. It starts with his firm. They put him on immediate leave pending their own investigation. Then his father, the federal judge, publicly distances himself from his son. Then his bank accounts get frozen. Then the FBI shows up at his apartment with a warrant. I watch it all happen from the safety of Lucien's penthouse. Every news update, every press conference, every former colleague who suddenly remembers suspicious conversations or strange requests. It's working, I whisper, watching Blaine's perp walk on the news. He looks smaller somehow, scared. Nothing like the confident man who smiled at me over dinner and told me he loved me. This is just the beginning. Lucien stands beside me, his arms crossed. The public exposure was necessary, but the real work happens now. What do you mean? I mean the FBI moves slowly. Trials take years. Lawyers find loopholes. Rich people rarely face consequences. His jaw tightens. But I'm not the FBI, and I'm not interested in loopholes. Over the next 2 weeks, I watched Lucien orchestrate a masterpiece of systematic destruction. He doesn't touch anyone, doesn't threaten anyone directly. But somehow, everything Blaine and the Fairburns built starts to fall apart. Their pharmaceutical suppliers abandon them. Their political connections suddenly stop returning calls. Their business partners discover urgent reasons to end contracts. Their insurance company launches an internal investigation. Their lawyers quit. Their accountants find discrepancies. Their real estate holdings face sudden tax audits. It's like watching dominoes fall, each one triggering the next, the collapse accelerating with every passing day. "How are you doing this?" I asked Lucien one night. We're in his office, him working through files, me ostensibly studying case documents, but really just watching him work. "I'm not doing anything." He doesn't look up. "I'm simply making sure the right people have the right information at the right time." That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you. He finally meets my eyes. "There are things about my life, my work, that you're better off not knowing. Not because I don't trust you, but because knowledge is dangerous. The less you know about how this machinery works, the safer you are. I'm already in danger. You're in danger from them. I'm trying to make sure you're not in danger from me." He stands, walks to the window. "When this is over, you'll go back to your life. Your mother will be safe. You'll have justice. And I'll be nothing but a strange memory. That's how this has to end." Something twists in my chest. What if I don't want it to end that way? He goes very still. "Iris, I'm not naive. I know what you are, what you do, but I also know what you've done for me, for my mother. You've given us safety when everyone else abandoned us. You've fought for us when the system wouldn't." I stand, move toward him. "I'm not afraid of you, Lucien. I'm grateful to you. You shouldn't be. But I am." He turns to face me, and the look in his eyes steals my breath. Raw, hungry, conflicted. "You don't know the things I've done, the people I've hurt, the blood on my hands. I know you saved my life. I know you're trying to save others. I know you loved your sister enough to spend 6 years hunting her killers." I take another step closer. "I know you're not the monster you think you are." "Yes, I am." But he doesn't move away when I reach out and touch his hand. "I'm exactly the monster they say I am. I just happen to be on your side." "Then I'm grateful for that too." For a moment, we just stand there, hands touching, the city lights sprawling beneath us. Then Lucien gently pulls away. "You should rest. Tomorrow is going to be difficult." "Why? What happens tomorrow?" "Tomorrow, Sloane Fairburn realizes she's not exempt from consequences." His smile is sharp, predatory. "Tomorrow we take down the Queen." I'm getting emotional over here. Let me know if you're feeling this too. Sloane Fairburn's downfall is poetic in its precision. It starts with a leaked email chain between her and Hugh, discussing the best way to handle potential witnesses. Then comes security footage of her at the warehouse, where the counterfeit medications were stored. Then bank records showing she personally profited from the scheme to the tune of $8 million, but the death blow comes from an unexpected source: her own assistant. The young woman shows up at a press conference with her lawyer and 5 years' worth of documentation. Emails, text messages, audio recordings. All of it proving that Sloane knew about the fraud from the beginning, that she actively participated, that she personally approved targeting my mother. "She told me to handle it," the assistant says, her voice shaking but clear. She said, "Make sure the Delancey woman is too distracted to ask questions. Do whatever is necessary." I thought she meant, I don't know. I didn't realize she meant murder. The room erupts, reporters shouting questions, Lawyers scrambling, and somewhere in the Fairburn family mansion, I imagine Sloane watching her perfect life disintegrate in real time. That's the assistant Matteo mentioned, I say to Lucienne. We're watching the press conference from his office. The one who was leaking information to the reporter. Yes, she thought she was helping Sloane hurt Blaine. She had no idea. She was building a case against them both. Lucien leans back in his chair. Never underestimate the power of people who think they're doing the right thing. Did you? I trail off, not sure how to ask. Did I manipulate her? Convince her to come forward? He considers the question. I made sure she understood the full scope of what she'd been part of. I made sure she knew that silence would make her complicit. But the choice was hers. She's the one who decided to tell the truth. That's not really an answer. No, it's not. He stands, stretches. The FBI is moving in. They'll arrest Sloane within the hour. Hugh and Garrett are already in custody. Blaine's being transferred to federal detention. He looks at me. It's almost over. Almost? There's still one person we haven't touched. The person who started all of this. The person who built the network that killed Elena and so many others. His expression darkens. Harold Fairburn, Sloane's father, the patriarch who created this empire of suffering. He's the one you really want. He's the one who deserves it most. Lucien walks to his desk, pulls out a file I haven't seen before. Harold Fairburn has been running this scheme for 30 years. He's a billionaire, a philanthropist. He sits on hospital boards and donates to medical charities, all while poisoning the very system he claims to support. How do you take down someone like that? Carefully. He hands me the file, and with help. Inside are documents I don't understand at first. Complex financial statements, offshore account records, shell company structures. But as I read, a picture emerges. Harold Fairburn isn't just running a medical fraud scheme. He's laundering money for half the criminal organizations on the East Coast. This is... I look up at Lucienne in shock. This is huge. This is everything. The FBI has been trying to build a case against Fairburn for a decade. They've never had enough evidence. The man is untouchable. Lucienne's smile is grim. Or he was, until his children got sloppy. Until they left a trail that leads right back to him. How did you get this? I have my sources. Lucienne, it's better if you don't know. He takes the file back. Tomorrow this goes to the FBI, along with everything else we've gathered. Tomorrow the Fairburn empire falls completely. And then what? He's quiet for a long moment. Then you go home. Back to your life. Your mother is stable and recovering. You're safe. The people who hurt you are facing justice. That's what you wanted, isn't it? It is what I wanted. A week ago, it was all I wanted. But now, standing in this office with this complicated, dangerous man who's fought for me in ways I never expected, I realize I want something more. Something I'm not sure I'm allowed to want. What if I don't want to go back? The words come out barely above a whisper. Lucien goes very still. Iris, what if I want to stay? Not forever. Not in this world you live in. But here. With you. At least for a while. You don't mean that. Don't tell me what I mean. I move closer to him. You saved my life. You believed me when no one else would. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself. Do you really think I can just walk away from that? From you? Yes, you can. You should. But his voice is strained. I'm not a good man, Iris. I'm not the hero in this story. I'm someone who uses power and violence to get what I want. Someone who operates outside the law. Someone who cared enough about his sister to spend 6 years getting justice for her. I reach up, touch his face. He flinches but doesn't pull away. Someone who keeps his promises. Someone who protects the people who matter to him. That's not a villain, Lucien. That's just a man who's been hurt and is trying to make sure others don't get hurt the same way. You're romanticizing this. Romanticizing me. In a week, a month, you'll realize. I'll realize what? That? You're flawed? That you've done things I might not approve of? I hold his gaze. I already know that. I'm not naive. I'm not some girl looking for a dangerous man to fix her. I'm a woman who knows exactly who she's standing in front of, and I'm choosing to be here anyway. For a long moment, he just stares at me. Then slowly he reaches up and covers my hand with his. 1 week, he says finally. Give yourself 1 week after this is over. If you still feel this way after the adrenaline fades, after you've had time to process everything, we'll talk. You think I'll change my mind? I think you deserve the chance to. I want to argue, want to prove to him that I'm certain. But maybe he's right. Maybe I do need time. Time to separate gratitude from genuine feeling. Time to understand what I'm really asking for. Okay, I whisper. 1 week. He nods, then gently removes my hand from his face. You should get some sleep. Tomorrow is going to be intense. What about you? I don't sleep much. He gestures to the piles of work on his desk. And I still have things to arrange before dawn. What things? Things you're better off not knowing. But his smile is gentle. Trust me, Iris. Just a little longer. I do trust him. That's the terrifying part. I trust this man who openly admits to being dangerous, who operates in shadows, who treats violence as a tool and morality as flexible. Maybe that makes me just as dangerous as he is. I go back to my room, but I don't sleep. Instead, I stand at the window and watch the city lights, wondering what tomorrow will bring, wondering if Harold Fairburn will fall as completely as his children have, wondering if justice really exists, or if it's just something we tell ourselves to feel better about revenge. At 4 a.m., I hear raised voices from somewhere in the penthouse. I crack my door open, listening. Too risky. That's Matteo. If the FBI finds out you were involved in gathering this evidence, they won't. Lucian's voice is calm, certain. I've been careful. Everything can be traced back to legitimate sources. Legitimate sources you paid or intimidated into cooperating. The end justifies the means. Does it? Because I'm looking at a man who's become obsessed with this case, who's putting himself and everyone around him at risk for what? Revenge? Justice? What's the difference anymore? Silence. Then Lucian speaks so quietly I almost miss it. The difference is I'll be able to look my sister in the face when I die. More silence. Then footsteps. A door closing. I slip back into my room before anyone can catch me eavesdropping. At 6 a.m., Lucien knocks on my door. It's time, he says. The FBI is moving in. They want you to be there. Why? Because you're the victim. You're the reason this all came to light. They want you to see justice being done. He looks tired, like he hasn't slept at all. You don't have to go if you don't want to. I want to. I grab a jacket, join him, in the hallway. I need to see this. We take his car. Matteo driving, the three of us silent as we wind through the early morning streets. The Fairburn estate is in the wealthy suburbs, a sprawling mansion surrounded by manicured grounds and high walls. FBI vehicles are already parked at the gates. Agents in tactical gear are preparing to breach. Stay here, Lucien tells me as we park a safe distance away. Watch from the car. But I can see everything from here. Can see the agents moving in, can see the front door of the mansion burst open, can see Harold Fairburn himself being led out in handcuffs, his face purple with rage and denial. This is a mistake, he's shouting. I'm a respected member of this community. You can't just... You're under arrest for wire fraud, money laundering, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit murder. The lead agent's voice carries across the lawn. You have the right to remain silent. I watch Harold Fairburn's face as the charges are read. Watch, the moment he realizes this is real, that his empire is gone, that his children are already in custody, that after 30 years of operating with impunity, He's finally facing consequences. It's over, Matteo says from the front seat. They got him. It's not over yet, Lucien murmurs. Not until he's convicted. Not until he's in prison for the rest of his life. But yes, this is the beginning of the end. Wait until you see what happens next. This is about to get intense. The trial takes 4 months to begin. 4 months of preparation, of depositions, of lawyers and procedures and bureaucracy. But Lucien was right. The evidence is overwhelming. Bank records, testimonies, documents, security footage, my statement, the assistant's recordings, Elena's medical records. The Fairburn family's lawyers fight hard. They try to suppress evidence. They try to discredit witnesses. They try to paint Harold as a loving father whose children deceived him. But it's useless. The case against him is airtight. Blaine cuts a deal. He testifies against Harold in exchange for a reduced sentence, 20 years instead of life. I watch him on the stand talking about how Harold recruited him, how the scheme worked, how many people were involved. He doesn't look at me once. Sloane refuses to testify. She maintains her innocence even as the evidence piles up around her. The jury doesn't believe her. She gets 30 years. Hugh and Garrett both plead guilty, 25 years each. And Harold Fairburn, patriarch of the family that thought itself untouchable, is convicted on all counts. Life in prison. No possibility of parole. I'm there when the verdict is read. Sitting in the gallery next to my mother, who's fully recovered now. She holds my hand as the judge reads the sentence. I feel her squeeze my fingers when Harold's face goes white. Justice, she whispers. Finally. After the trial, after the sentencing, after the media frenzy dies down, I do what Lucien asked. I give myself a week. I move back to my apartment. I visit my mother. I go back to work at the hospital. I try to rebuild the life that was shattered 4 months ago. But everything feels different now. The apartment feels too small. My work feels too routine. My old friends feel like strangers. Because I'm not the same person I was before. That naive, trusting woman who believed in the system and thought love was enough. She's gone. In her place is someone harder. Someone who's seen what people are capable of. Someone who understands that sometimes justice requires force. On the 8th day, I go back to Lucien's penthouse. The doorman recognizes me, lets me up without question. I knock on the door, my heart pounding. Matteo answers. He's on the balcony, he says, stepping aside to let me in. He's been waiting for you. How did you know I'd come back? Because he knows you better than you think he does. Matteo smiles. Go. Talk to him. I find Lucien on the balcony overlooking the city. It's sunset. The sky painted in shades of orange and pink and purple. He's leaning against the railing, still wearing a suit, looking every inch the powerful man who brought down an empire. You came back, he says without turning around. Did you really think I wouldn't? I hoped you would, but I wouldn't have blamed you if you didn't. He finally turns to face me. Have you thought about what I said, about giving yourself time? I gave myself 8 days. That was enough. I walk to the railing, stand beside him. I know what I want, Lucien. I want to help people the way you helped me. I want to fight for justice when the system fails. I want to make sure no one else goes through what my mother and I did. That's not a life I'd wish on anyone. But it's the life you live. Yes, it is. He's quiet for a long moment. If you do this, if you really choose this, you can't go back. You'll be part of my world, subject to its rules and dangers. The people we fight, they don't stop. They don't forgive. They'll target you just for being associated with me. I know. And I can't promise to always protect you. I'm not invincible, Iris. I'm just a man with resources and rage and a lot of very dangerous friends. I don't need you to protect me. I turn to face him fully. I need you to treat me as an equal, as someone who can stand beside you, not behind you. Can you do that? He studies me for a long moment, then, slowly, he smiles. Yes, I think I can. Then we have a deal. There's one more thing. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a small box. This was Eleanor's. She gave it to me the day before she died, told me to give it to someone who would understand what we're fighting for. He opens the box. Inside is a silver pendant in the shape of a raven. The raven always comes back, I whisper, remembering my mother's delirious words, remembering Eleanor's last message, remembering the tattoo on Lucien's neck. Always. He takes the pendant out, fastens it around my neck. His fingers linger on my skin for just a moment. Welcome to the family, Iris. Such as it is. I touch the pendant, feeling its weight, feeling the responsibility it represents. Then I look up at Lucien, this dangerous, complicated man who saved me and changed me and showed me what justice really means. So what happens now? I ask. Now? His smile is sharp, predatory. Now we find the next Harold Fairburn, the next network of people who think they're above the law, and we show them exactly how wrong they are. Good. I smile back. I'm ready. And I am. Ready for this new life. This dangerous, meaningful, purposeful life. Ready to fight alongside someone who understands that sometimes the only way to protect the innocent is to become something a little bit monstrous yourself. The sun sets fully, painting the city in darkness. But up here on this balcony, I've never felt more clearly what my purpose is. I was broken in an alley 4 months ago, beaten and terrified and ready to give up. But I was found by a raven who remembered his debts, who taught me that justice doesn't always come from courts and laws. Sometimes it comes from people who are willing to fight in the shadows so others can live in the light. My mother is safe. Elena's killers are in prison. And somewhere out there, someone else is suffering under a system that won't protect them. Someone else needs help that won't come from official channels. We'll find them. Lucien and I, Matteo and the others. We'll find them, and we'll help them, and we'll make sure the people who hurt them face consequences. It's not the life I planned. It's not the life I ever imagined wanting. But standing here watching the city lights flicker to life, wearing a silver raven around my neck and feeling Lucien's steady presence beside me, I realize it's exactly the life I was meant for. Did this story touch your heart? Let me know in the comments below. 6 months later, my mother sits in her new apartment, paid for, by the settlement from the lawsuit against the hospital and the Fairburn estate, and tells me about the night she met Lucien's father. I was 23, she says, pouring tea with steady hands, working in a free clinic in the worst part of the city. A man came in, shot 3 times, bleeding out. I should have called the police. But there was something in his eyes. Desperation, yes. Fear, but also dignity, pride. He was protecting someone. Lucien, I say. He was just a boy then, 16, watching his father die and trying so hard not to cry. She sets down the teapot. I saved his father's life that night, and in return the father gave me that card, said his family owed me a debt, that if I ever needed anything, ever, I should call. But you never did. No, I left the city instead, came back when you were born, started fresh. She looks at me with knowing eyes, but I kept the card, just in case. And when things got bad with Blaine, when I started getting sick, I knew it wasn't an accident, so I left it where you'd find it. You planned this? I planted a seed. Lucien did the rest. She smiles. He's a good man, Iris. Dangerous, yes, but good. He'll take care of you, and you'll keep him human. That's how this works. I look down at the raven pendant around my neck, at the new phone in my pocket, the one with a single contact labelled work. At the new life I've built in the last 6 months, helping Lucien and his team bring down 3 more fraud operations and exposing 2 corrupt politicians. I'm happy, I tell my mother. I know it's strange, but I am. Love usually is, she says gently, strange and dangerous and worth it anyway. Love. Is that what this is? This fierce connection to a man who operates in shadows? This sense of purpose when we take down another person who thought they were above consequences? Maybe it is. Or maybe it's something else entirely. Something without a name. A partnership forged in violence and tempered by shared pain and strengthened by mutual respect. Whatever it is, it's mine. We're building something together. Something that matters. My phone buzzes. A text from Lucienne. New case. Medical fraud in Chicago. 3 deaths so far. Interested? I text back. Always. Another buzz. Meet at the office in an hour. And Iris? Yes? Thank you for staying, for choosing this, for choosing me. I smile, touching the raven pendant. The raven always comes back, I type. You taught me that. Yes, he responds, but sometimes the raven brings a friend, and that changes everything. I kiss my mother goodbye, promise to visit next week, and head out into the city. It's early evening. The streets alive with people rushing home from work, couples out for dinner, life flowing in its normal patterns. They have no idea what moves beneath the surface, what battles are fought in the shadows to keep their world safe. But I do. I know now. And instead of being frightened by that knowledge, I'm empowered by it. My name is Iris Delancey. I was broken by betrayal and saved by a raven. And now together we make sure that the people who prey on the innocent face justice. Real justice. The kind that comes swift and sure and without mercy. The kind that comes by dawn.